Hey everybody, it's Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the Amazon FBA and e-commerce podcast.
Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm. Lunch with Norm.
All right, we know we're usually, all the time late by a minute or two. But today, we had some technical problems. We were supposed to have Talor Offer on, and we are going to talk about some really cool stuff about retail basics. It was supposed to be a cover off of what Steven Selikoff was talking about last week, and then the basics to get you on to retail. However, we had a little bit of a glitch, and Talor's internet was done. So we're going to reschedule him. So I put out, while in the fetal position, word to Afalabi or Shane or somebody to come on. And Shane was the first. Shane Oglow, my partner over at PR Reach, was willing to come on and talk about something. I don't even know what we're going to be talking about, but we are going to be talking about it. But first, before we get to Shane, I do want to talk a bit more about what you guys want to talk about today. Do you have any subjects or questions that I can answer while we're waiting for Shane to come on? Because it was really last minute.
We are set to go. So whenever you're ready, Shane he's on standby and we can get him in whenever you want.
So just 1 second. I'll just do the one. You know what? This is horrible. We've got a brand new sponsor today. And this is what they get to tune into. But before we get started, I do want to read this sponsor announcement. And this episode, even though it's running late, this episode of Lunch with Norm is sponsored by Href Webmaster Tools. Amazon sellers are busy between managing your team, optimizing your listings, and dealing with nasty Amazon emails. How are you supposed to find time to run a website, let alone make it SEO optimized? Ahrefs is here to help. With their new, very advanced and free SEO tool, they'll be able to scan and prioritize precisely what you need to fix and improve your search engine results. All whilst you sit back, relax, and enjoy Lunch with Norm. So check out Ahrefs Webmaster Tools at ahrefs.com/AWT. That's ahrefs.com/AWT. All right, now Kelsey, where are you?
Hello. Wow, good job on that.
Did I do that?
2 thumbs up. Way to go.
All right, good. Okay, so now where is Mr. Shane? Or do you have anything to announce while we're doing this?
Of course. So
I'm not, it's not like I'm panicking or anything that we're
really,
10 or 12
like
minutes
you're
late.
panicking just a little bit. But yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome to the show. Smash those like buttons if you haven't already. If you think Norm is panicking right now, give us a thumbs up and share this episode so everyone can see. I hope everyone is ready for today's episode. So we're going to be bringing on Shane Oglow from PR Reach. And yeah, if you have any questions or concerns, any questions, throw them over into the comment section. Also, if you're looking for the full episodes or highlights, you can go over to our YouTube channel, Norman Farrar. And yeah, that's where all of our episodes are. Also, our Facebook group, Lunch with Norm, Amazon FBA and eCommerce Collective. That is where all the good stuff is. That is where our main community is. So go over, check it out. And we'd love to have you be a part of the Beard Nation. And I think that's it on my side.
Okay, I'm looking at Nathan's comment. What kind of operation you're running, Norm? Well, we have to talk to Kelsey about that. Oh my gosh. All right, where are you, Shane?
I'm here.
How do you like short notice?
I love it. Yeah.
Oh,
but you know what? I was just sitting here. I was doing my
nothing.
Thing. I saw your message, so yeah.
All right, yeah.
Okay. Well, you caught me on a bad day too. You're having a bad day. I didn't sleep all weekend. Like I think I went over 40 hours without sleep, so I'm a little bit. But yeah, hey,
great.
You know what? You get what you pay for, right?
Okay, all right.
We can talk about anything, you know.
Yeah, that's what I said. So, if for those
Crypto.
of us who don't know who you are and what you do, can you just give us a brief explanation?
Sure. So I'm partners with you over at PR Reach, which was the world's first video press release company, but now we do all kinds of great stuff from Amazon launch and rank press releases, articles, gift guides, public relations, earned media, all kinds of great stuff. Lots of fun over there. We work with a lot of Amazon sellers. Of course, everybody probably knows that you come from a strong Amazon base, and so do I. I've been doing it for years and years. And yeah, we just sort of dabble in a whole bunch of stuff over there, helping people build their brands and build their online authority and trust and perceived value and all that good stuff.
Well, I think today we could talk just in general about content. Content either being press releases or articles or whatever it is. So I'm not sure what you're seeing that's new. I mean, you run PR Reach for me, and well, not for me. I mean, we're partners at PR Reach. And what are you seeing that's new that you're not telling me?
Well, I try not to tell you anything.
I know.
You know, content is still king. We all know that. But as just like everything in the e-com world, well, since the 90s, but especially, in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, it just changes and transforms. I remember when, I started my first brand, I don't know, 2012 or 13 or something like that. There's always things you had to do. Oh, you have to have a Facebook profile. Oh, you need to have, you need to do a blog. You need to create memes. There's all these things you had to do. You felt obligated to do. And now there's more things. I remember back when Twitter ads were you say, I don't know, I guess you can still do Twitter ads, but I don't know too many people are successful at them. But there's always kind of things to do. But at the core of it, there's always content. Here's the problem, is that most people think, okay, hey, that's a great idea. They're their own subject matter expert, and they're going to start doing a blog once a month because they also have a Shopify site, for example, or I'll say Shopify like Kleenex, but a third-party site. That's great. That's wonderful. And you should be putting out content. The problem is getting it seen. Just like when people start a social media profile, they start a Facebook or Instagram or whatever they're doing, and they put out all kinds of things, just doesn't get seen. It's a long, slow process, and that's relatively normal. Now, if you've built the better mousetrap, if you've got something really compelling, sure, it can go viral a lot quicker. You can get things to take a lot faster. But for most folks, it's just a long, slow process. So we have ways of accelerating that. And this isn't here to pump it in one, and other people could do it too. But there's ways to sort of cut the corner, to make it better, to make it stand out, to get it in front of more people. And there's 100 ways, some days, to do it, whether you're using influencers, whether you're using press releases, whether you're syndicating your content, whether you're doing guest blogging. There's a lot of things you can do. I'd say that most, and where I'm going to this long-ass story, is most people don't seem to just want to do a blog anymore unless they've got a really good plan. And even social media, a lot of people, as you know, have just the bare bones minimum. Like they post once a week, once a month, whatever. Their social does nothing for them because it's a lot of work. You have to put time, effort, thought, and it feels for most people like it's a total waste of time. When they're putting a little thought and effort for 6 months, they're getting hardly any engagement, hardly any reach. And I don't blame them. It's a very frustrating experience. Like I said, unless you built a better mousetrap, people aren't just going to flock to you. You've got to really earn that trust and that readership. So, new stuff. I'd say companies that are employing, and this, again, we're a press release company, so I see this type of stuff, employing advanced tactics with press releases, basically using them in a smart way. So using them lots, consistently, with a really good keyword plan in place, not willy-nilly all over the place. We're really focusing on certain keywords that they want to rank for on Google, or they want to help their Amazon rank with. Now, I say press releases because that can be at its core, It could be other types of content too, but the great thing with press releases is you can link all over the place. You can do that with a blog as well. But if I put out let's say I get a mention by a relatively well-known blogger. So I write my own blog saying, hey, we were just reviewed by so-and-so. So-and-so just said this great thing about our product. Great. Link to their site. Is your site, your blog, going to help push that up the search rankings, that blog site? No, it's not, because you're a tiny little blog. With press releases, you can do that. And when you're employing these types of strategies where, let's say every month you're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it happens to be, or every quarter, whatever your plan is and your budget, you're able to diversify those links. And I think that's another important component, is not just sending a link to Amazon or to Shopify. If you've got a Walmart listing, great. If you've got social media pictures, a Pinterest thing, a link to an authority site, a link to a blogger, a link to a listicle that you showed up in, that's what will start to really get that broad exposure. The one thing I want to mention is whenever someone talks to me about content is like, Shane, what can I do? And I need to get more sales. And how can I turn this around in 30 days? Content is not going to turn your business around in 30 days. It's a long-term strategy. It takes time to build this up. But if you do that over time with link diversity and using an intelligent keyword strategy, and I don't mean you have to be super sophisticated, just focus on sets of keyword silos and their long tails, basically like you do with Amazon anyways, you will start to see these things rising up the search results in Google. If you're directing links to Amazon, you'll start to see a little bit of keyword velocity when you're doing it with other strategies. And I think just overall, it just builds that brand presence. It has to be all encompassing. It has to be intelligent and all linked together. Too many people just go and they just try to do Facebook, or they just try and do a blog and they don't get anywhere and they give up. When you incorporate some other elements and you've got that good keyword strategy behind it, linking strategy, that's when things will come together, but don't expect it to happen right away. And one other thing I'll mention too before I'll shut up is I think that if we think back on the years of Amazon, like 2014, 15, 16, so much of everything was focused on tactics, day to day. How can I get 3 more sales a day? And that's a wonderful thing. And there's all kinds of loopholes in Amazon too at the time, even in other e-com platforms, even press release loopholes, little manipulation things which Google closed the door on pretty quickly. But over time, we knew this would happen as the industry became more developed and more mature. You need to start focusing on the long term. You want to build that brand. And that's really what content's about. For people who just want to focus on day-to-day stuff and sell their business in 6 months and do whatever, then this probably isn't for you. It's for people who want to build a real brand.
But I see this as, first of all, it can help with keywords. It can help with driving traffic over, depending on what you're doing, driving traffic over to your Amazon site or wherever you're selling, if it's Shopify. I saw a report today, and I don't know if I can do this. I just received this report, and we were looking at, this is strictly just content. So content went out, and it was for a foot product or something like that. Anyways, Mana's our operations manager. Mm-hmm. And we saw the case study that by using content and targeting keywords, so she sent over and she said, this is how expensive these keywords, this is a competition. This is where your ranking is. And then over the last month, this is where it went. So it either went from, position 15 up to position 3, up from 4 to number 1. But it showed by putting out a quality article, and formatted properly, what you can do. And a lot of people don't understand this. They think that you can publish a blog. Well, first of all, you have to do the formatting properly so Google can index it properly on your WordPress site or whatever site that you're using. Secondly, you can syndicate it just like a press release. You can go out there and instead of just having it out on your website, you can send it to all these syndication networks And you can get 200 links or something like that. And it's found all over the internet, not just sitting on your website, which is really cool. So that's something to keep in mind. And then the other thing I really would like to talk about is there are different types of content. When we're talking about content, we're talking about Amazon editorials. That's content. If you're working with a media relations company, they can get you into magazines like Forbes or whatever almost any type of magazine, Rolling Stones. I know that we talked, or Michelle was talking to Rolling Stones and Forbes. She's a contributing editor over there, but getting in to those type and getting that type of exposure, simply putting it onto your website. But here's a trick: when you put something onto your website and you want it to get more exposure, write a good quality article that has pay attention. There you go. So, 1,000 words to 1,500 words, and then every quarter come back and add 250 words to it. And that'll get Google's attention again to come back. You don't need a lot of links. You want to make sure, like the anchor, especially like anchor text, is kind of out right now. I mean, you can put raw links back to your listing, but you don't want to do a lot of anchor text because, especially a keyword anchor text, because Google will slap your wrist right now and give you a penalty if you're doing that. That kind of went out, a year or so ago, or maybe even longer. But so what I wanted to talk about was, these different types of content, even gift guides. So, gift guides, another type, or providing the content and getting an influencer to write it and getting them to publish it through their network, linking back to your Amazon listing. So there's about 4 or 5 types of content that I'm talking about right there. Steve Wiedemann was on, and he is an SEO expert. I don't know. I think I've talked to you about Steve. He's an incredible guy. He worked at Google. He works for every Fortune 500 company you can think of, probably all 500. And the guy knows his stuff. And he was talking about content and what not to do and what to do, and how to format it. New types of formatting, like getting into the answer box and trying to get exposed. And thank you.
Mhm.
We got Shane Oglow on today, Con.
Hi, Shane. My hair's a mess, so I won't step into the
Hi,
camera.
Connie.
Okay, thank you. But anyways, where do you want to take it from here? Because I'm not sure if that's Kelsey talking about content is king, but let's talk about those, and maybe you want to break down each one and how they can benefit an Amazon user.
Sure, and that's a good point. And what I was, my little tirade at the beginning was more about content that anyone can do tomorrow. Like, you can write your own blog tomorrow. You can write a press release tomorrow. This stuff you can just do, and that's great and that's wonderful. You should be doing.
Yeah.
But at some point too, your brand gets to the point where, well, not necessarily, but in a lot of cases, when your brand is grown and you're ready for the big league content, and that's what we're talking about: public relations, media, magazines, television, trade shows, awards, all those types of things that we do as part of the media program. Not every brand's ready. If you just started your first brand, you're doing 5K a month. It's not so appropriate for you. You're not there yet, so that's okay. So we start to lay down the foundation before making that reach out. And most people come to me when they say, "Hey, is my brand ready?" It's like, okay, well, do you have a good, solid sales base on that? Do you have reviews? Do you have some social? Get some social media. It doesn't mean you have to be on every channel. You want to have a solid base. Okay, now let's start to lay those Google foundations as well. You got Amazon covered. You're doing pretty well. You're feeling confident. Wonderful. Let's start to have your brand show up in Google search results, where your keywords start showing up. And that's usually we'll start with some people. Some people will go straight to public relations or media. And when you were talking about those results that Mona sent you, I mean, oh my gosh.
Hold it. Let's talk about George over at Clear Ads. Okay, so so we're talking about getting ranked, getting like, let's say somebody's typing in bully sticks for dogs or something like that, and you want to be up there and be seen. Shane, talk about that.
Yeah, we've got a good buddy, George Maresa. He's out of the UK, in London. He's one of the world's nicest people, I would think. But he's got a great agency. And this just goes to show, it doesn't matter if it's a product, a service, whatever you got going on. This as long as you need an online presence, this will work. But George started running some press releases. Now, these are our higher end press releases that have a higher authority distribution network. And we can talk
sorry,
about
can I
distribution.
interrupt you for a second? When we're talking about press releases, a lot of people don't understand that there are multiple types of press releases. You have a very basic online press release. You have the next up, which is called a social media press release, which usually has a much larger distribution. It will target more social sharing and target bloggers, influencers, and journalists. And it could be a bit of everything, a combination of everything, or all of them, just depending really on the price. And then there's the third one, which is more of, if you remember back in the day, the PR has hit the wire. Well, this is that type, a traditional press release, usually used by, like, politicians will use this type to hit propaganda or whatever they want. But Fortune 500 to 100 companies will use this because it has mass distribution and high quality links. Like just the other day, I was looking at one that we did, and it got into, I'm going to start at the lower end, but Costco Connection, which you don't normally see. It got into Bloomberg. It got into Harvard, the Harvard Business Review, Wall Street Journal, and the social media ones, going back to that, it's a lot less expensive, but they still get really great leverage. Like you're going to get into possibly CNN, Fox News, ABC, NBC, their affiliates, and a wide variety of content media. So those are the difference. If you go online, they're usually online press releases range from free to probably just a few bucks, and they're junk usually. Social media press releases will range from around $30 to $400. And when you see something at $200, $300, or $400, they usually have some form of content distribution. So they're either going to Yahoo Finance or they're going to Reuters, which this just gives you another 100 or 1,000 other content outlets to have your product distributed to. That's why there's such a big difference. And then you've got the traditional, which could be anywhere from 700 to 3,000, in around there. Yeah, so that's the difference. And sorry I interrupted.
Yeah, and that's important though, because most people, even people who've been using press releases for many years, don't really understand distribution networks here. The thing that we do, though, I'd say differently, is that it's like, okay, we've had these different networks. So some are not top tier networks. Okay, we have a specific purpose and use for those, for different types of news, different types of things, and then we use a different network. It's not a one size fits all when we do it. It really depends on the topic, the subject, the newsworthiness, and the goals. But going back to George, he started doing those press releases, and he was competing he wasn't really competing with Amazon. He's competing against other agencies, but he ended up outranking Amazon for their own terms, with advertising on Amazon DSP. There's a few terms we had at top of page one of Google.
So what you're saying is we knocked Amazon down to number 2 or 3.
Yeah, which was shocking. I mean, we didn't expect that. What was really funny, and I'm going to paraphrase this because it's been a while since I mentioned it, but George, and he has an SEO team who sends him reports every month. They're like, the hell? So he sent me a bunch of messages and screenshots. He's like, OMG, I can't believe this. What's going on? This is awesome. But unfortunately, he got a phone call from Amazon, and they were like, "Hey, George, we can see you're doing this stuff, but look, you're in violation of our terms by you saying this, and this." And he had no idea. We had no idea. So he called me up in a panic. He's like, "Oh my gosh, we have to pull down these articles. I had no idea I was violating these terms." So we went into panic mode and we started pulling down everything for him. It's a bit of a pain in the butt. It takes a couple of weeks. Then he finally gets a call from a guy at Amazon DSP. And he says, "Hey, George, I want to talk to you about these articles." He goes, there's one or two left. I promise they'll be down soon. He goes, no, don't worry about that. Don't worry about it. He goes, if you were a partner, you wouldn't have been in violation. So if you want to be a partner, just sign here. He's like, okay. And he goes further to that. We'd love to work with you as part of our R&D as we're developing our DSP platform. So it changed everything, and that's why I said when most people say, or come in and say, "Hey, I want to drive a whole bunch of traffic to my listing. I'm going to publish a press release." Yeah, that's not really what they're used for. But there are always exceptions. Yes, you can go viral with press releases. It depends upon the network you're using and the news of the topic. But that's not our 95% of the time goal. Again, you've just developed a better mousetrap, or you just signed a deal with Costco, or like you've got some really big news. Absolutely. We can push that out, get in front of people, get it in front of media in your niche, and yes, it can go viral. But
the average Amazon seller, like during a product launch, or just keeping the word out there, social media press releases, and that's by far the majority of the press releases that people are. When you see a press release, that's what they're using. When you, like you said, when you have that big announcement, that's when you go to the bigger press release, and that's the same thing with with content. You can go out there and just get a very simple $30 piece and be happy with it, or you can spend a lot more money, have quality writers, and get it blasted out for a lot more as well, and make sure that the company that's writing it will probably understand the SEO side of things as well, which is big, because if you don't understand SEO when you're publishing a blog, what good is it? Nobody's going to find it, and that's what you're looking for. And I'll add one other thing that I've seen really work to help have that on-time, expand the on-time presence. And that's if, let's say that you're doing an article, even a bullet. No, I'm going to go back. You have a press release, okay? How do you leverage that the most? Well, the first thing is you could write some simple content. The content doesn't have to be newsworthy. It could be interesting. You could be talking about 5 tips about, or the interesting facts or benefits about your product. Do a small video and embed that into your content. So when people go to your blog, they're gonna see this, and they're probably gonna click on the video, and they'll probably stay a little bit longer than just kind of whip down and scroll and move on to something else. Now, write a press release about that, link it over to your content, and put that same video into your press release. Because press releases allow you to embed videos. And that way, you've kind of got the circle of life. You've got the one going back to Amazon, so you're going to get a lot of external links over there. You're going to be linked over to your content, which Google's going to like. And here's the bonus tip. If you are signed up with Google My Business and you put that into your Google My Business, or you have, let's say your product listing is your anchor URL, and I don't want to get into tech terms. All that is if you have Google My Business and you have your main URL as your product listing, and you have that in your press release, it instantly, the second it's published, gets indexed by Google My Business, and you get ranked on Google. It's that extra leverage that you need to get seen. So, I love Google My Business. I talk about it a lot, and I don't think a lot of people use it because they think it takes a lot of time, and it really takes no time at all. But anyways, what do you think about that?
I love it. Gosh, here we are. You jump on and say, let's talk about content. But at the end of the day, You could talk about content for 4 hours straight. There's just so many different rabbit holes you can go down. Google My Business and gift guides and PR and blogs and formatting and press it. There really is a lot. And I try to, it can be as overwhelming as you want it to, but I usually get people to start off simple, the basics, and then just build on, build on, build on. I think that's the way to go. And one of the simplest ways, okay, press releases, especially for us because we've been doing it for so long, dead easy. But it's one of those things that once you start doing, it's a no-brainer. You're fine. You'll catch on. You'll start linking. And as soon as you start adding more components to your puzzle, whether that's every month you make a YouTube video or every quarter, you have a new product launch every quarter, you do a blog once every month, so you get some social media. All these things you can just start adding on, adding and linking. Like you said, that circle of life. You just start getting that link diversity all over. And you know what? You will start to show up in the strangest places. It'll just start to happen. Trust me, it will. It's not going to happen overnight. Sometimes it can happen overnight, but usually it takes some time. And you'll be like, okay, this stuff does work. But it's for those people who've got that long-term vision. One of the things that I love it, and I saw Marsha made a comment here, and you're welcome, Marsha. Yes, I agree. He's a fantastic guy. Now, she just got her product back. She's got an incredible product. I think have you had Marsha on the show?
Marsha's been on everywhere.
Okay.
She's been on my Clubhouse. She's been here. Yeah.
All right. So she's got a great product, right?
Yep.
The copper germ killing thing. And Marsha, you better be talking to me soon about getting that into gift guides, because gift guides is what I want to talk about right now, because it's something that even a brand new Amazon seller, or you don't even have to be an Amazon seller, maybe someone at Walmart or Shopify, whatever. It's something that anyone can leverage. You don't need to have 1,000 reviews. You don't need to be a bestseller. You don't need to have keywords ranked on page 1 like you do for things like editorial recommendations, for example. It's a way to get your just more content, but it's written by a trusted third party. And that is a big component of content. Yes, you can write a blog all day long about tooting your own horn, and that's wonderful, but you're still tooting your own horn. As soon as someone else starts talking about you, okay, now that's trust, authority, perceived value, all those things go up. And the way the gift guide, or at least the way our gift guide blog program works is every month we're just, we've compiled a media list of gift guides and blogs, and we're just pitching it, trying to get those products into gift guides. And you can send those links back to Amazon, Shopify, wherever you want. But once you start to get that, so now every month you're getting 2 placements, 6 placements, 8 placements, whatever. These are wonderful press release topics, because one of the things that a lot of people, I think from day one, these are the questions I had when I first started in press releases is, oh my gosh, I just sell these little LED lights and these things. What the hell am I going to talk about every month for a press release? There are so many darn things to talk about, especially for those baseline press releases, which aren't meant to be read. They're an SEO tool. It's about new SEO, building authority, getting a brand name, they're getting these keywords right slowly over time. Well, this gives you a whole bunch more stuff to talk about every month. And the press releases, when you're linking to them, help push that content up. If you think about it, some of these gift guides or bloggers that might be publishing your stuff have a pretty decent domain authority. So if you're selling LED candle lights, and I go into Google and I type in, best LED candle lights, well, guess what? You're going to start showing up under some of these listicles or reviews or gift guides, and those press releases help push that up. So you're kind of doing them a favor and yourself a favor. Again, it's an easy element to add because someone else is doing the content for you. You're just linking up to it wherever you can. And of course, then if you get published by a blog or a gift guide, share it in your social media. Put it in your email, your newsletter. You can use it for advertising. Squeeze every drop of juice out of it you can. So there's things you can do that are relatively easy, where a big component of the content is done for you. Because I know a lot of people get nervous. They think, oh my gosh, I'm not a writer. How do I find a good blogger? I've tried different writers. That writing sucked. Yeah, I think we've all gone through that to some degree or another. And it takes a while sometimes to find a good one if you can't do it yourself. But in this case, bam, you can just get that every single month published by third parties, and then just use these other strategies to start linking up. So basically I'm saying you can get other people to do your content for you.
So Shane, and this is something that if people wanted to do on their own, they could do that as well, right? They could go and search, and then they could pitch these gift guides as well. So it's not something that if you don't have a budget for, you could just go out and try to understand it first. And then if you get to that next level, there are companies like what Shane, like over at PR Reach, I want to be fully transparent. There's about 2,500 gift guides that we've approached. And anyways, but you can absolutely 100 just go in and type, pet gift guide, dog gift guide, dog supply gift guide, stuff like that. And many magazines or TV shows or websites, large content websites, they'll also have them. So just try to, try to reach out. That's an easy win. Now, the other thing that, years ago, and it has been years ago, but we did a course for amazing.com on authority. And one of the things that was amazing is, no pun intended, was the repurposing of content. And with one of the pieces that we used, I think we calculated that we've repurposed it over 100 times, and it was one piece of content. And I want to make sure that that we talk about this and that I don't overcomplicate it, because you can take a piece of content, so you get your article done. You can take snippets of that article and put it over on Twitter and shout it out. You can publicize it on YouTube. You can get somebody to do a voiceover and just do an audio. You could do a YouTube clip of just a portion of it, like reading the first or second paragraph, and publish it. That's what we do with this podcast. So this is what Kelsey does. He goes out, he repurposes the podcast over and over and over again. And guess what? It starts to rank, not I wish it was everywhere, but you can start to see the rankings start to move up because you have written, like even for this podcast, we do transcriptions. So we'll put we'll transcribe it and put it onto YouTube. We'll do the transcription and we'll put it onto the website. So we get the biggest bang for the buck. Then we'll take the audio and we'll publish it out there. And then of course we've got the video snippets that we do. So there's so much you can do. Think about that with your Amazon product and do something on a benefit. So I don't want to overcomplicate it. I want to make it very simple. We talked about it earlier today because we were talking about something completely different, but just simplifying it for Amazon sellers. So do you want to get into that? But before we do, I'm going to throw you into a corner. Okay. Usually we have a giveaway on the show. We have not talked about it. I just said, hey, can you get on the podcast? I'd like to do something for anybody who's listening today. It'll be hashtag Wheel of Kelsey. Shane has no idea what he's going to give away, but make it good. As your partner, make it good. What are we going to do?
That's the awkward silence.
I know.
I don't know.
It better be good. But a free written press release?
I mean, sure, we can always do that. That's always and the thing is it's a great intro to the process. Like if you have no experience with it, try it out. You see how it works, see how it's formatted, understand it. You get a distribution report. It's like, okay, I see how this whole thing works. And then, all these things we talked about, and the complicated, like you say, might start coming together. Have a call, or send me an email and say, okay, well, how can this is what I do. This is how my business works. How can I use this as part of a larger strategy? Sure.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll do I think it's called the News Dominator package with a written press release. So that's News Buzz. Is that right? Okay. So that's going to go out. It's going to go out to, it'll be fully distributed. It's a social media press release. And also what you're going to notice is that you're going to start to understand what you need. Like you don't have to provide the title. You don't have to provide the body. You just provide the bullets, but your contact information, your images, if there's any research. I mean, these are all things that can go into a press release and you'll get to understand that. And you can leverage that information that's written to build out your blog article if you want to do that. So that's what we'll do. It'll be hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag two people either here or outside of the outside of the comments, and we'll get that going. And also, Marsha Reese, I am so sorry for saying this so late into the podcast, but it was a crazy podcast. Hashtag, it is I want to stay well, and you'll get a chance to win one of Marsha's copper plates today for the back of your phone. Yeah, it is. Nice. And Kelsey, did I hit everything?
Yeah, I think you hit it.
Did I say it
so
right?
Just one requirement for the hashtags I want to stay well. That's US Canada addresses only. So we're only shipping to US and Canada right now. But that is for one of these copper plates in the back of your phone. It keeps you nice and healthy, kills the germs, and yeah, stylish. And I love mine. Okay. And I think Norm has one too on his phone.
I do. It's not with me, but I have it on the back of my phone as well. It's awesome. Yeah. Because we started so late, we'll take the questions a little bit later today. And so I'm going to put you on the spot again. Let's go back and let's talk about simplifying. What are some action steps that either new sellers, medium sellers can do to get into the game?
Yeah, well, I mean, anything you can do where you put the onus on someone else to produce it is great, because it's you're just them directly. So you can get us or another company too. Red presses, wonderful. You can get that kind of. I like to say, set it and forget it. Every month you're doing one, doing four, whatever that number is. Great. Okay, you got that going on. Everything you can do yourself too. Your blog you can do yourself. Social media you can do yourself. All these things. Make sure you link them up. If you have a little bit of a budget and you don't have the time, so let me just go back. Yes, we've got a gift guide blogger out of service. Yes, you can do it yourself. Yes, I used to do it myself. It is a time consumer, but you can get some good action. And the one thing I would suggest to do, let's say you're typing in, dog toy gift guides or pet gift guides, or you're looking for bloggers or influencers in your niche or your space. It can take a bit of time. It takes a bit of research. Keep a spreadsheet. Okay, have all these the links to their site, their contact info, the day you message them, all that type of stuff. Because some of them might take months to get back to you. Some of them will get back to you right away. Some of them won't get back to you at all these different websites. And you're going to have this big, long running list, and you have to work that list. The one thing I'll say that will make a bit of a difference is try and personalize it each month. If you just have a cookie cutter template email you blast off to everyone, don't expect any responses. Or if you do, it'll be from very, very small outlets, or maybe not in your niche, or they're just interested in free product. Who knows? The more you can tailor it to their audience, to their, what they like, what they don't like, spend a little bit of time looking, okay, what types of gift guides have they done in the past? What type of products have they reviewed in the past? What type of things they talk about on the social? You'll get a good idea for what they like, what they don't like, and their audience. And what about the price of the products that they usually promote? If they're promoting stuff that's in the hundreds and you sell something for $7.99, they're probably not going to want you on there. So those things will help make it a little bit more efficient. But I would say just start doing whatever you can on your own. And then when you have a little bit more budget, augment with other things. So that could just mean syndicating the blog that you put out once a month. Wonderful. It's not expensive. I think we charge $95. Other people are probably the same. Wonderful. That's going to get your blog, boom, across at least a couple of media sites, get in front of more people, get some backlinks coming to your website, help rank your blog a little bit higher. We've got clients who love it. It's a simple thing. You're already doing the content anyways. You just give it more of a boost. Make sure you're sharing everything on social, including it in your newsletter if you have one, email, making a YouTube videos, whatever you want to do. Then as you get more sophisticated, then we'll start to move into things like the gift guide blogger outreach. You can move into more SEO aspects. We can go heavier on things like press releases. You start to add those layers in. And going back to what you were saying earlier, when you said Mana sent you those results we've had of getting people ranking on page one for keywords in Google. The first thing I'm going to say about that is when people come to me and they say, oh, shit, I'd love to get some offsite traffic. Okay, great, wonderful. You sell clothespins. Do you really think a lot of searches originate on Google for clothespins? Probably not. Maybe we can push it to the top of Google page one. Is it really going to result in a lot of traffic and sales to Amazon? Probably not. You'll get some, I imagine, for sure. But typically, the products on Google can be trending products, more complicated products, expensive products, products that need instruction. If you're buying a camera, people usually go to Google first. They the top 5 cameras, because they want to see a YouTube video, they want to see instructions, they want to see what people are saying, reviewing. If you're buying something simple, they probably just start their search on Amazon. So some products and services are going to do better than others by being ranked on Google. That just makes sense. And now some people just want it anyways, even though they don't get a lot of searches on Google, they want to have their direct links all over. They want to be anywhere. Okay, fine, that's fine. But what we were doing there is that's all about content. Now we do blend in SEO as well, okay, offsite SEO. So we do enhance it. But when you're creating content, whether it's like Norms, you were saying, let's say you do a blog and you get it transcribed and you do a voiceover and you create a little cartoon explainer video. Some guy in Fiverr does for $15 or something. Great, wonderful. You have to understand that all these little pieces of content, and we do across the media spectrum, we do all kinds of content, from more glam pieces like high-end press releases to lower-end stuff, which really isn't meant to be viewed or read. It's just designed to be a piece of content on Web 2.0 sites. It's all about the linking. It's all about creating this linking, and it's showing Google that you're out there, you're creating unique content all the time in different formats. You've got nice linking structures, nothing spammy, and Google will start to reward you. They absolutely will. It can take time, but we're just giving them what they want. There's no mystery there. When it comes to the Amazon side, that's a little bit different because everyone's in a little bit different situation. Now, sometimes people have a Shopify and Amazon, and they're starting to build their Shopify. You don't have to send links. You can send it all to Amazon, but you will start to get more Shopify love even if you're directing your links to Amazon. As you get more authority, you start to show up with more keywords, and it just starts to elevate. All that tide starts to rise across the board. And I think that's very, very important for people to sometimes make a slow transition off of Amazon. But for the Amazon-only people, we have a few things we'll do. Yep, we can do gift guides. Yep, we can do blogs. All the links not all the links, but many of the links are coming back to your Amazon page. But don't do everything that way because we want link diversity. So again, it might be better for you to write your blog and your blog link to Amazon and your press releases linking to your blog instead. The idea of pushing your blog up and that being your traffic driver, that being your piece of authority that's going to rank for a keyword and not the press release. I hope that makes sense because here's the thing. Let's say you're doing all this stuff. You talk to me and you're doing blogs, you're doing social, you're doing gift guides. It's cool. 1-2 years down the road, if I type in certain keywords on Google, I'm going to see your stuff everywhere. I'm not just going to see a bunch of press releases. I might see 1, 2, maybe 3 press releases on it. Well, that's cool. I'm going to see images from your social. I might see a blog. I might see listings. I might see third-party stuff. That's what this is doing. It's pushing all that stuff up. I hope that makes sense. And I know it gets complicated, or it seems like it can get complicated really quick. And I would never recommend someone jump in a whole lot. Starting with just a few things, and then we'll layer on top over time as you start to build momentum.
So Shane, I think you've heard me say this more than one time about managing expectations. I think that's my favorite expression. But we do get from time to time people who think that they publish a press release, that they should get like they do usually get national exposure, but they're not going to get ranked across the board forever with every primary keyword out there. And you're not going to have tens of thousands or thousands of traffic going over to your Amazon listing. It's not going to happen because people are not going to be, this is more a link play than a traffic play. Now, that's a little bit different with the higher end products because they reach a lot bigger audience.
Yeah.
And so you could see a bit more traffic, but again, it's still not that. The other thing is you have to remember that if you're doing this once, it's okay, it's great. You might be doing a launch. If you're doing this consistently, and let's say you do 3, 4, 10 social media press releases and maybe one traditional press release once in a while, this way you start to build your brand. And I always talk to people about, look, when people come over to Google from Amazon, they're checking you out, they want to make sure that you're real. And if you can see that you've got all these sites that are talking about your brand, that helps. And the other thing about that, I've done presentations, I've shown you this as well, where I've taken one of our pet products and put in a keyword. And not only were we number one at Chewy, but then it was Amazon.com, Amazon.ca. There was a couple of other things I can't remember. All the images were us. And it went on to page 2. We took every spot because influencers were writing about us. Content was about us. Our website was there. Pinterest was there. Facebook was there. We only missed out on one position on Google. So we had every position, every organic position taken. And this was, it was by accident, actually, I found this, and I put it into a presentation. That's the type of exposure, that's a home run. That doesn't happen all the time, but that's what you can do with this stuff. Paul Barron, so Paul Barron was showing with swim diapers, best swim diapers. He showed us, okay, this is what I did. And I'm sitting there going like, whoop-de-doo. You got 2 or 3 spots. He goes, no, look at this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. There were 7 other spots that were brought up by influencers. So they started to publish it, and now you've got more content being generated. This is called user-generated content from influencers that help promote your product. It's really great. Like if you can build that sort of organic funnel, again, this is a little bit tougher because we're talking about influencers, but now you're filling up Google with just your brand, which is awesome. All right.
Yeah,
so
there's no downside to it.
No,
it
there
does
isn't.
take time. It does take time. And the one thing I'll just add to, and I kept getting distracted because my brain's been all over the place with these wide subjects, is when we talked about those results, when we're taking people, they were ranked on page 15 or page 3 or whatever of Google, you want to page 1. We're getting exposure on page 1. The holy grail and the whole point of what we're trying to get eventually is that direct to Amazon or direct to Shopify, whatever URL. It doesn't always happen right away. It can for some keywords. That's kind of the holy grail. And I think that's what you were just talking about too with the pet brand. We have all kinds of direct links to different sites, like on Chewy, Amazon.ca.com, whatever. And that's what you want, right? You want that just one click.
Yeah. It's also very hard to track. You can't use Amazon attribution or a pixel because the press release company might publish it on their site, but when they go through their syndication network, you'd have to have pixels on every one of the like Wall Street Journal or CNN or whoever it is. So it's very hard. Like we'll have people call us and say, well, you only got this. Well, yeah, but what about the other 400, sites that picked up your media content? So there are some questions, Kels. I know we're running a little late today, but let's get into them.
Okay, let me see. So going back through, Marcia had some questions about Amazon Live. Not sure if you guys wanted to jump into that.
Yeah, I asked at the very beginning if there was any questions because, Shane was 10 minutes late.
So, yeah, no? Yes?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so for Marcia, hey Shane, so glad to see you here. I'd love to hear best practices on Amazon Live.
Well, hi, Marcia. I'm going to defer more to Norm on this because I've actually removed myself from staying current with Amazon Live over the last year. I know they made some changes. I think it was last year they made the changes, and I got distracted with other stuff. So, Norm, what's the latest with Amazon Live?
Well, Marcia, we had Carlo Alvarez on the podcast. And it's all about Amazon Live. And if you want to listen to that, that'll give you everything that's going on with Amazon Live right now. It is something that I would try to get involved with. It's growing. I've heard negative, but I'm very positive on Amazon Live. In fact, one of the things that we're trying to do is start to do challenges, like let's say for the knife. I talk about the knife, getting chefs to go live and do their recipes. But it's between Amazon Live and Amazon Posts. This is part of your community. So if you have and I know your product very well, so the Stay Well products, if you wanted to tell people about the quality of the products, the benefits of the products, the features of the product, you don't have to go live for, a half hour. It is important that you go live, and you can do pre-records, and you can get influencers to do pre-records, or they can go live. But I like just do something short. People like, even on live, they like that candid sort of reels or TikTok style where they get the real person behind it. And this is one way that you can drive followers. Now, something else that we didn't talk about with Carlos, I don't think it was that important back then, but it was driving Facebook ads or advertising over to get followers. So either on your brand feed for Amazon Posts, or when you're doing an Amazon Live, it's important to get as many live listeners to follow you as possible, because then they get notified. But like I said, Carlos came out with some really great strategies, and hopefully that helps. But now we'll continue on with the content questions.
Okay, great. Thank you. Let me see. Sorry, we had a couple questions come in.
Sure.
Okay, so Simon is saying, PR Reach created and distributed a press release for me as a We Love Kelsey prize, or Simon likes to call We Love Kelsey. But thank you. How do we measure the reach of that release?
Well, you'll get a distribution report, and it will show you the estimated potential readership of that. Now, it depends what type of release you give. That's because we have more developed reporting for our news dump, but that'll give you an idea of the potential readership. Of course, let's say it's 10 million or something. That doesn't mean you have 10 million people reading it. That's just when you add up all the reach. This place has 5,800 a month. This place has 62,000 a month. When you add them all up, that's the potential reach.
And that'll show you in the report. So your report will start off, tell me if I'm wrong, Shane, but it'll start off with basically the press release. It'll tell you the estimated reach. It'll tell you where to find it on the company, where to find it on Google, and then it'll show you all the outlets. And so it'll show you, usually the company, any distribution company will show you a logo, a link, so there's proof. So let's say it's Miami Herald, you can click on it and see that it's actually there. The countries it's shown in, and then the users, the amount of users per month. Then, depending on the report, you'll either get a keyword ranking report separate, or it could be tied into depending on the company, the report will be tied into the distribution report. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, and our higher end processes, we also have media lists that it'll go to as well. So we'll show you the targeted media list it's going to and how many people opened it.
Yeah.
So it's not just like just some spam email address. It's actually looking at it. And then of course the Google keyword ranking report too, showing you basically based on your title, what combinations of those keywords you might have mentioned them.
Okay, great. From Tony, what is your opinion on a blog mentioning your competitors?
Well, if you ask me, I never mention my competitors unless there's a real good reason. It kind of reminds me of Miracle on 34th Street. That's what it's called, right? Miracle on 34th Street.
I don't know where you're going.
The classic. Well, the Santa was saying, "Oh, we don't have that here, but the store across the street has it," and it did more good for them, right? Because it's like, oh, they're so kind and generous. There's that aspect too, where maybe your competitors do have something you don't, and you fit a very specific niche. It's okay. But other than that, I don't think I ever mentioned my competitors.
Well, there is a play.
I'd like to hear
here.
why. Okay,
there is a play, and that is if you're going to be doing some form of review, right? And you could give this review maybe to a different company. You're not maybe publishing this on yours, but you write this, or some guest blogger writes it, or you publish it somewhere, but you have a review of 4 or 5 products. Yours is one product. And then you could give the features and the benefits. And then, yours comes in at 4.5 star. Everybody else goes from 4 star down to 3 star. And that's one way of doing it. But I wouldn't put that unless it's a guest blogger on your website. And get this is kind of cool. The guest blogger does it, or an influencer does it. And then you write a press release saying that you're voted number 1. And you link your press release over to that. And then you can publish it on your website.
And I was assuming here we're not going to talk about writing hit pieces. So I'm just going to leave that out.
All right. From Andrew Craig, this is our last question. Simon did have a quick one before this about if you should contact ATIF for the distribution report.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So from Andrew, could you explain the type of press release that comes with the Platinum Patreon?
I don't think Shane knows about that, but yes, the Platinum press release that PR Reach offers is the social media, like the News Buzz press release.
The News Dumb. That's our highest level.
What's that?
The highest level one we have?
No, this is the one that we give away with the Platinum, and that's I think it's called the News Buzz, which is the social media press release. Whoops.
Okay.
It's a social media press release, including the distribution of it. So that's going out to 400 or 500 different media outlets. Mm-hmm. So it's a high quality press release. It's not their traditional press release.
Okay, that's it for the questions.
Okay. So yeah, we're running around an hour, but it's an hour and 15 here because we started late. But is it that time, Kels?
I believe it is. So everyone get ready. It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
What the hell is happening?
There we go. Oh, that's the first time you've seen it, huh?
No, I think I saw it before, but
okay.
I think you've upped your game a little bit.
Oh, we spruced it up a little. But here we go, the Wheel of Kelsey. So if you are the winner of today's prize, please email me at k@lunchwithnorm.com, and I'll go ahead and shuffle up these names and get rid of this. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1. And we are working on a little jingle too as we do this. So
Kelsey's gonna sing.
All right.
Just like he does the birthday song. All right, Amar.
All right, congratulations, Amar. And then we have one more giveaway with the Staywell Copper. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen one more time.
Sure.
And make sure you email me at k@lunchwithnorm.com. And here we go. Get rid of this. All right. 3, 2, 1. Shuffling up.
I got it. I just want to let you know my Skype is just on Do Not Disturb, but it's coming through for some reason.
Oh, we can't hear that. Don't worry.
Oh, good.
All right, Brian. Brian is the winner for the Staywell Copper. So there we go.
All right, Brian. Okay, so that's it. Shane, you're off the hook.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me. Next time we definitely have to prepare something before.
I know.
I've got all kinds of interesting things I'd like to talk about, but we'll narrow it down next time.
But you know what? I really do appreciate you. Like it was 10 minutes late, and I said, Shane, can you get on? And you did. Like I had to, come off the ground because I was in the fetal position trying to figure out what we're going to do. And so anyways, I really appreciate being my partner, and thank you for coming on. All right. So let me see. We are going to have a returning guest, Stephen Pope, coming on, and we're going to be talking about the mistakes of Amazon sellers and why your past product failed. So he's always interesting to talk to. He's got a lot of knowledge in Amazon. And the other thing is, I just want to give a great big thank you to Global Wired Advisors, a leading digital investment bank focused on optimizing the business sales process. For more information, please visit Chris and his team over at globalwiredadvisors.com. Okay, Kels, what's left? We made it. We actually made it.
Whew, what a Monday. But yes, we made it. We made it to the end. Yeah. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Usually we're a little more prepared than this, but
could you tell we weren't prepared for this?
Yeah, let us know in the comments section. What did you guys think?
Please don't say it sucked.
Thank you guys so much. Being a live podcast, there's Wi-Fi issues, streaming issues happening all the time. Even our one Facebook group stream, I think, went down today because of StreamYard. But we, what a Monday. But if you're sticking with us, you can join our Facebook group, Lunch with Norm, Amazon, FBA, and eCommerce Collective. Also, if you missed any part of this podcast, you can go over to our YouTube channel, Norman Farrar. That's where you can find everything. We've got, I think this is episode 173 or something like that. So our whole catalog is over there, so you can find full episodes and any highlights. Also, our Patreon is here. So we started this in June, but we have a paid membership program, basically, and you can join our smaller, even smaller community. It's pretty tight knit. But if you're interested in guest lessons, we got discussions like Q&A with me and Norm. So tomorrow we have a special social media Q&A with me that we all get to do, like a roundtable kind of thing, and discuss what's happening with social media and how you can improve. But then we do a couple with Norm too. So if you are interested in that, go over to our lunchwithnorm.com website and just click on the membership area and it'll take you right over there. But thank you guys so much. Shane is awesome, and I can't wait for Stephen Pope. He's always a great episode.
He's always good. So, yeah. What does Simon mean? Kelsey, you censorship in questions suck. Were you censoring?
I actually, Simon, I forgot. I was going to bring that up actually, but Simon has a very important question. He has a massive harvest of courgettes and zucchinis. Any good recipe ideas? So it's a little off base, but if anyone knows, head over to the YouTube, fill it up with zucchini recipes, and yeah. But I think that's it. Yeah.
All right. So until Wednesday, tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. And thank you for watching and being part of the community. If you can help Simon out with his zucchini recipes, please do so. And if you can't, no problem.
I'm gonna go post it in the Facebook group too. I'm gonna put it in the Facebook group.
Are you just gonna do this to me? Are you gonna? I was on an exit. Okay, so enjoy the rest of your day. And Kelsey, get out of here. Go.
Lunch with Norm.